Welcome to Majulah Presents Local Politics. Thanks for tuning in. This is a special podcast series episode where we are going to try and follow and keep up to date with the election cycle in Singapore. Today is day one. We will be coming across to you across the 9 days, trying to keep you updated and with up-to-date information on the general things that are happening. For those who maybe have not enough time in your regular work hours or who are trying to catch up at the end of the day, Majulah Presents Local Politics will offer you snippets and hopefully a series of summarized information that should help you or should give you a bit of supported news throughout the day. As you can possibly tell by now, it will only be me, my fellow co-host Daniel. He's off winning the hearts and minds and hopefully votes for some of his voted electorate. So you'll have to deal with me. But otherwise, we'll have regular guests on for the remaining 8 or 9 days. And hopefully the shared perspectives can enlighten you for the 9 days to come. Hi, Ben. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Vanan. Pleasure to join you.
Really good to have you along for the ride, Ben. For those who are maybe not accustomed to Ben, do you want to just say a quick few words to describe yourself?
Sure. I'm just an ordinary voter. I did write a lot about social political things once upon a time. I used to have a site called 5 Stars and the Moon. I didn't pay my server fees, so it's not running anymore. Don't bother looking for it. So yeah,
Right.
just here to kepo. Yeah.
Right. I think that's the most humble of introductions we've ever had on the show. So I'm really glad that you're on. So let's I guess dive straight into it. It's been a slightly hectic, busy, interesting, but maybe for some boring day. Day one of the official election cycle, nomination day. What were the main things that stood out for you?
The biggest event, right? We've never had a walkover since 2011. So this is clearly one of the biggest things that stood out. But actually, I see it not as an individual event, but I see it as a sequence of events that the Workers' Party has been performing. I think kudos to them. They are masters of political theatre. And if you observe what they say, what they do, I think it will all start to make sense. So today, I think really they have, whether intentionally or not, they have manufactured a win for the PAP at Marine Parade very early on. It seems, I feel this actually works for them. You solidify very quickly that the PAP is winning, and this is likely to be what you see for the rest of the campaign. And then if you pair that also with what I have been observing, that what they do on the ground at the campaigning, they do like to pick out large-scale PAP events and walk alongside them. You have an event where you have hundreds, of people, and then you have them, and you have a small handful of people on the ground. It does look a little bit of theatrics there, where they're trying to show you, they're small and they need help. And then you look at the media, the sort of messages that they've been putting out, the sort of language choice that they use. There's a lot of reductive words that you see, with scaling back. There are limited resources. We're moving, we're having fewer than 1/3 of people, or rather of candidates competing for seats. So this sort of language actually makes them look smaller, more modest, non-threatening. And look, elections are very feely, are very emotion and automated. So if you're familiar with this fella called Daniel Kahneman, of the very famous book Thinking Fast and Slow, you'll probably be familiar with the concepts of system 1 and system 2 thinking. So system 1 is where we are piloted by, or rather auto-piloted by intuitive, automated, emotion-based thinking. And then we have system 2, which is very deliberate, rational, and analytical. I think the Workers' Party are masters of the emotion and psychology. So when you have, what I observe also on the online domain, people go online, or rather the activists go online and debate them very cerebrally, full of logic, full of arguments, full of points. I think this sort of stuff is going to gloss over a lot of readers' heads. We're all very cognitively very busy, and that's a different domain. The PAP fights on an intellectual domain, and the Workers' Party fights on a very psychological domain.
That's interesting. I think the perspective is fresh, and I want to kind of push you a little bit on this, just to try and see whether we can unpack that a little. So essentially, what you're saying is it's a theater, right? You're saying this is a really good production. The Workers' Party wants to, pardon the pun, hammer home this message that they are an underdog from the get-go. It's almost a benefit for them to play a weakened hand to show the public of Singapore, look, we are not that strong, we are actually quite weak. But could it be that actually they're just a really weak party, they didn't have enough candidates, and this is just a turn of events of a really weakened opposition slate in Singapore?
I think that opinion is best left to the electorate to decide. What the other side should do, the PAP should appeal to the conservative instincts of us. We're Singaporeans and we're by and large very conservative. And they should play on those points, double down on the action, the outcomes. What are their policies? What are they doing in the global context? This kind of stuff is what Singaporeans are assured to hear.
I mean, I think that touches a bit on your second point, right? This PAP's way of having very structured, logic-based arguments. It's also probably because they are one of the been there, done that, well, the only been there, done that party. Do you think that kind of messaging, albeit true, factual, will resonate for the next 9 days? Do you expect that to change?
So there are several values that I think at the back of everyone's heads. They are already evaluating what has this party done? How did they do in the last elections? Did they actually show up? Did things actually improve or get worse? It is a good, clean fact that we see. I'm living a better life than my father. I can see that my children will live a better life than me. And, I think that's really what we all want. And that's what was delivered. It's true, Singapore is in a very good shape. There are certain things that people are, there is political tension. But by and large, everyone will tell you that, oh, okay, actually Singapore is not that bad.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. When we were first kind of preparing for this pod, when you talked about those points, I thought it's a very refreshing perspective to have. I don't think many people would have garnered that just from nomination day. So I think the way you've said it made it interesting. For me, when I was reflecting back on nomination day, I think like two things that if you were to ask me that stood out. First is, I think everyone in Singapore was kind of eagerly anticipating to see where Pritam Singh was going to go, right? I think there was a lot of conversation about this. The fact that Workers' Party was, having a very quiet media presence. They only put out some videos on their own channels. I don't think anyone really knew. A lot of rumors about Pritam going somewhere else, maybe East Coast, maybe Tampines, maybe Marine Parade, that didn't pan out. And the fact that, on this morning when he walked into Aljunied and it was, he passed his nomination, and the fact that he's standing in Aljunied was kind of a disappointment. I think for me, I would have wanted to see a bit of a fireworks show. In the end, I feel like I got 2 firecrackers and someone already poured water on them as soon as the announcement was made. So a bit disappointing there. But then the second thing that I think really stood out for those people maybe who didn't get the chance to watch it is that this movement, right? This Tan See Leng and Gan Kim Yong, what they had to do early in the morning. So Tan See Leng said that, he was called early in the morning as he was going to Marine Parade to say that he's going to have to go to Choa Chu Kang because he's filling up the space left vacant by Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong, who he himself had to go and helm Punggol, right? And this chain of events, all of this transpired because the PAP and, in a sense, Singapore lost 2 pretty senior statesmen, Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat and Senior Minister Toh Chee Hean. They're both retired from politics. So this meant that there were these 2 seats that needed to be filled up. But the repercussions of this was that, at least for Singapore, it was one of the maybe disappointing news of the day, which is Marine Parade GRC had a walkover. And it's a 5-member GRC that's essentially now as its first walkover, the only one from nomination day, which also then, I guess, references what you were saying, right? PAP has now solidified a 5-man GRC. There's not that many other 5-man GRCs left. Yes, some of it's being contested, but a lot of people see it as a shame. Minister Masagos came out and said, actually, the Workers' Party has to answer for this. People were expecting Workers' Party to contest. In the last general election, they did rather well. And the fact that they didn't even contest this, yes, I think it's a slight disappointment. Now, it also tells you that in nomination day, anything can happen, right? Senior ministers can move. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, in his HQ address, he did say that for the PAP, these changes do happen on nomination day. They're prepared to make these changes. He referenced the fact that he's in the west of Singapore, in UT, the previous Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong in the center, in Ang Mo Kio, and Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong in the east. And the PAP looks at Singapore in its entirety when they field candidates. Whereas maybe the Workers' Party, they have to fend for themselves. Pritam Singh did say, right, when asked by CNA, that actually the reason why they did it this way is they just had to be strategic. They didn't have that many candidates and they had to field their best possible in the right places. So those, I think, were like the big two highlights.
But what about the speeches? What did you hear? I was at work most of the day. I had to miss out. What should I catch up on?
I mean, as I managed to follow quite a bit of it. Maybe not everyone has the spare time that I can afford for these things, but it was almost like everyone in Singapore trying to speak their second language rather poorly, right? I mean, that was what I think kind of really fascinated me about all of this. I think generally the speeches were pretty okay. Some, your usual, couldn't really string a couple of sentences together. Some forgot the points. But I think Bernadette speaking in Tamil kind of really stood out. My phone from a lot of other Tamil speakers just kind of buzzed off, right? Like, this is very, very rare to see a Chinese person trying to speak Tamil. I thought she pronounced it well, but I mean, for a Tamil speaker to listen to that, it just sounded wrong. And honestly, I don't know why we do this. I don't know why we push non-native language speakers to speak the language. Janil came out and he spoke in Malay, and then I think he also have a go in Tamil. I'm not sure, but like it's just slightly strange. I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to cater to everyone, those who don't speak English. It sounds strange, right? It sounds slightly weird. It's such an elongated process. You're waiting, and the people who come up from the electoral department, they say, this is a contest, and they have 3 minutes. My takeaway really is that an SMC candidate had only 1 minute. A GRC candidate or candidates only had 3 minutes. There wasn't really anything that they could have said to Singaporeans. Time is really short. And for me, you could see the ones who prepared and the ones who didn't. And then it makes me think, right? If you can't even prepare for a 1 minute or a 3 minute speech, how prepared are you really for this upcoming general election? So I think that's the only window of opportunity that I saw. But like you said, it's just day one. It's day one of a pretty hectic 9 days. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen. This one didn't really live up to the expectations that I thought it would, day one. What about you? What are you expecting for the next 8 days?
You're quite right to say that not many people are going to have the time to listen through all the speeches. But what will happen, definitely TikTok and Instagram is going to be chock full of many versions of these. And this is where all the emotional package comes in. People are going to compare, they're going to contrast, they're going to bring things out. For better or worse, it may work against what some of these political parties actually want to portray. Quite right, actually, to say that, it's quite an uneventful day, but hey, this is Singapore. The more uneventful it is, the better. No surprises, unlike some other countries far away from us.
Actually, at this juncture, I mean, you say it's quiet. I guess the one other kind of noisy news that made its round is that the four-way fights in Tampines, right? PAP, Workers' Party, NSP, and PPP. I think that's a really muddled it's going to be a slightly messy one. I think the fact that Faisal Manab has been moved from Aljunied to go and helm Tampines, I think is slightly interesting. I think it's the only four-way fight that we'll have here. So, something for people to look out for. Sembawang and Ang Mo Kio, other GRCs, three-way fight. There's SMCs that have also a three-way fight, Potong Pasir and Radin Mas. Also, the emergence of two independent candidates, one Bitcoin dude as well who's standing. I mean, there are pockets of interesting things, but I don't think it really moved the needle for many people, because I think most people got up today trying to figure out where Pritam Singh was going to go.
That's true. But you know what I like? I like it that there are more, I don't know if it's right to say, but it seems like there are more SMCs. But even if that point was fact-checked, but I see a lot of heavyweights going on their own to fight the SMCs. And this, I guess it answers the political complaint that says, you're riding on each other's coattails and all that. It seems like that's not happening. The other interesting thing is, wow, it's like a bit of a soft reset. A lot of new candidates. All over. So this new prime minister is literally telling you, what's the Thai phrase again? Same but different. You've got the same part, but hey, you all have been complaining that, that we've been operating under the same mindset. Now I'm giving you a fresh slate. What do you guys think?
I think it's true. I think the PAP has put out the highest amount of new candidates that it's ever put up. Definitely interesting. But I mean, don't forget, the Workers' Party has also come up with very good candidates as well. I think people were quite impressed in the quality and the standard of this. I mean, their star, Harpreet Singh, is going to Punggol. He's going with a brand new team. So all four of them, I mean, Punggol is a new GRC, but the fact that for pure new members are going to contest for Workers' Party, that's also going to be quite interesting. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you're going to see some shakers and movers, hopefully. I mean, for the rest of us, I've always wondered this, right, Ben? Like, I mean, we follow politics. We are kind of curious and interested in what's happening. But do you think an average Singaporean will dissect this, or are people just going to like coast through 6 or 7 days and then day 7, day 8, wake up and go, you know what, I'm just going to work for this person because I like the sound of his or her voice? What do you think?
This is absolutely Daniel Kahneman again. This is all thinking fast and slow. You can do all you want for the 9 days, but on the very last day, someone gets caught in a traffic jam. There's a train breakdown. People get drenched in the rain. Wow, and that's it. Yeah, your votes go haywire. Yeah. So that's really how it ends up. Although I am quite happy to say Singapore is unlike other countries where you have thousands of different fragments, thousands of different tribes, and different causes. We're not really fighting between left and right. I mean, Singapore is by and large very conservative. We're actually quite homogenous in our political makeup. Some even argue that perhaps the Workers' Party is quite conservative themselves, so not very, nothing much different there. So I'm quite pleased that we're like that, and hence we won't get big surprises. Yeah.
Look, I think the fact that there's already been a walkover of a 5-member GRC, to me, then says that the Workers' Party did say they couldn't contest for 1/3 of the seats. So I think a PAP victory is all but likely. I will be very surprised if PAP don't win this election. And I think the question about having a supermajority, more than 2/3 or more, I think it's also might be on the cards. So I think now it is about opposition parties, what kind of candidates they put out, what kind of fight they have. I mean, just before we came on the pod in West Coast, the PAP had asked PSP to reveal and release their 5-year town plan. So, I mean, I think there'll be more of these questions. I like that they ask that kind of questions because you want residents to be able to know, right? Because most of them vote on a local level. And I think that's the kind of thing that will be contested. And I mean, let's see. I think it's only been day one, like you rightfully said. It's kind of started to kick off, but I mean, I think now it's a good kind of cursor to at least have a direction of where we're going to go, something which we didn't have 24 hours ago. But I mean, saying all that, Ben, we are reaching that 20-minute mark. So I'm going to just kind of enclose everything to kind of sum up this because it's quick. It's a quick podcast episodes that we're trying to do daily. I mean, for those who have just tuned in, we just talked a little bit about nomination day one of the election. There are 206 candidates across 92 seats, across 32 constituencies, and this is literally day one, right? So if you enjoy listening to some of these perspectives, please tune in to Majulah Presents Local Politics, where we'll try our best to dissect and analyze some of the information across the next 9 days, and hopefully tune in and share it around. Thanks for joining us, Ben, and maybe you can come on soon and talk about other election stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vanan.